The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom just got absolutely humiliated by his own party, not by the Tories, not by the media, by his own Labour MPs, led by none other than Angela Rayner, who essentially told Keir Starmer to sit down and shut up while they fixed his catastrophic mess. And the best part? This all happened in front of the entire country, live in the House of Commons. If you thought Starmer's week could not get any worse after admitting he knew about Peter Mandelson's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, well, buckle up, because it just did. Welcome to Westminster, where your past is never really past and your enemies never forget. If you are enjoying this chaos, smash that subscribe button. Over 92% of you watching have not subscribed yet. It is free, takes literally 2 seconds, and it helps us keep bringing you the juiciest Westminster drama. Cheers if you did. Right, back to Starmer's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. So here's what happened. Keir Starmer stood up at Prime Minister's questions and made an admission that will haunt him for the rest of his political career. He knew. He absolutely knew that Peter Mandelson was still friends with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein when he appointed him as U.S. ambassador. The vetting documents spelled it out. The relationship was flagged. Starmer saw it, acknowledged it, and appointed Mandelson anyway. But now, facing the biggest scandal of his premiership, Starmer is trying to spin this disaster by claiming Mandelson lied repeatedly about the extent of the relationship. Except here's the problem with that defense. Even if Mandelson lied about some details, Starmer knew enough. He knew about the friendship continuing after Epstein's conviction, and he thought that was acceptable for Britain's ambassador to America. Let that sink in. But the real story today is not what Starmer admitted. It's what happened next, because Starmer just got absolutely rolled by his own MPs in the most public way possible. The Conservatives tabled something called a humble address, which is parliamentary speak for forcing the government to release documents. They want everything related to Mandelson's appointment, every vetting document, every email, every memo, complete transparency. You would think a prime minister who campaigned on integrity would welcome this, right? Wrong. Starmer tried to pull a fast one. He wanted Sir Chris Wormald, the top civil servant, to decide what documents could be withheld on national security grounds or because they might prejudice international relations. Sounds reasonable on the surface, except everyone in Westminster knows that international relations can mean absolutely anything. It's the ultimate loophole. The government normies speak for, we will release what we want and hide what we do not. It's transparency theater at its finest, and Labour MPs were not having it. Enter Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister who just days ago voted with the Tories to embarrass Starmer, was back for round 2. And this time, she brought friends, a whole group of Labour MPs, furious about the Mandelson scandal and increasingly concerned that their Prime Minister has lost the plot, pushed back hard. They had a simple demand. If we're going to trust someone to decide what gets released, let it be Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee. The ISC is cross-party, it has security clearance, it's designed for exactly this kind of situation. It's accountable, it's transparent, it's everything Starmer's plan was not. And here's where it gets absolutely delicious. Starmer insisted repeatedly that the cabinet secretary and government legal teams should make the judgment. He dug in. He tried to use his authority as prime minister to force this through, but his own MPs were not listening. During the debate, Labour backbenchers stood up one after another pushing for the ISC to be given the key role. Rayner herself suggested the ISC would help with keeping public confidence in the process. Translation, nobody trusts you anymore, Keir, so we need an independent body to handle this. Behind the scenes, absolute chaos erupted. Frantic negotiations took place in the corridors of the Commons to reach a compromise and avoid a full-scale Labour revolt. And in the end, Starmer caved completely. Utterly, humiliatingly, he accepted that the Intelligence and Security Committee would decide what documents could be released. He got rolled by his own party in front of the entire nation. As one Conservative spokesman gleefully pointed out, Starmer is no longer in control. Kemi Badenoch is calling the shots. And honestly, they're not wrong. Kemi Badenoch has been running rings around him all week. Let's take a step back and understand why this matters so much. This is not just about the procedure or parliamentary process. This is about authority. Prime ministers live or die based on their ability to control their own party. Margaret Thatcher fell when she lost her MPs. Theresa May became a lame duck when her backbenchers stopped listening. And Boris Johnson was finished the moment his ministers started resigning. And now, Starmer, barely 9 months into his premiership with a massive majority, can't even get his own deputy prime minister to back him on a crucial vote. That's catastrophic. What makes this even more extraordinary is the speed of Starmer's collapse. Most prime ministers get at least a year or two before their party turns on them. Starmer has managed it in 9 months. 9 months! He won one of the largest majorities in British political history and squandered it faster than you can say Peter Mandelson. The man is setting records for all the wrong reasons. And let's talk about what we actually know about Mandelson, because this gets worse. Documents released as part of the Epstein files appear to show that in 2009, while serving as business secretary in Gordon Brown's government, Mandelson was passing potentially market-sensitive government information to Jeffrey Epstein. Let me repeat that. Market-sensitive government information to a convicted sex offender who was actively trading on financial markets. This is not just inappropriate. This could potentially be criminal. The BBC reports that Mandelson maintains he did not act criminally and that his actions were not for personal gain, but the optics are absolutely horrendous. Kemi Badenoch has been relentless on this. At PMQs, she asked Starmer directly whether the official security vetting mentioned Mandelson's ongoing relationship with Epstein. Starmer had nowhere to hide. Yes, it did, he admitted. As a result, various questions were put to him. Questions were put to him. What does that even mean? Did anyone actually expect honest answers from Peter Mandelson about his relationship with one of history's most notorious criminals? The whole thing is absurd. Starmer tried to argue that what was not known was the depth, the sheer depth and the extent of the relationship. He claimed Mandelson lied repeatedly about the extent of the relationship, and that new information published in September showed the relationship was materially different from what they had been led to believe. A number 10 source later said Mandelson presented Epstein as someone